Threat of some storms is also beginning to die down these next couple of hours. This is a time lapse beginning at around 10 o'clock, just in the last 4 hours. A couple of clouds, even some showers, a lot of dark, scary clouds actually making their way across the area. Let's loop all the way up till present time. There was just one shower, it was just visible, but for now, starting to actually see some peaks of sunshine as Tropical Depression Helene continues to push toward the northwest, between 25 to 30 miles per hour. Winds are sustained at 35 miles per hour. Its center is about 125 miles southeast of Louisville, Kentucky. And for now, us in the Triad, we're still seeing a couple of isolated showers, maybe even an embedded storm or two, but for the most part, our severe level threat is starting to die. We saw that band go through earlier that brought in multiple tornado warnings across our region. That same band is also beginning to impact portions of very eastern North Carolina, including a tornado warning and some severe thunderstorm warnings across the board. For us in the Triad, pop-up storms still may be impacting us for the next couple of hours, so still want to keep the rain gear with you and also an eye on the radar. Alerts on as well as these remnant storms continue to go across the area. They are pushing north between 30 to 35 miles per hour. We're also watching this tornado warning right now toward Raleigh and central North Carolina for Edgecombe and Halifax counties. This is radar indicated, but it's very clear where we see that rotation. Excuse that right there. This is where the rotation is right here. Very quick moving storm. Just before I set this up, I had the rotation in the right spot, and that just goes to show you how quickly these storms move. This one right here, just over Enfield. This is where this rotation is right here. And just to kind of show you how strong these storms are, this was actually an observed tornado on the ground. We use this thing called correlation coefficient to show the debris possibly being lofted in the air from tornadoes, picking up things like houses, power lines, etc. And this is kind of showing you that this tornado was on the ground just north of Rocky Mount, right at around 3:01, and there have been reports of several businesses and even some buildings having some damage. So we'll continue to keep eyes on that, and we'll also update you on the warnings we had to see if anything was observed or if there was any damage reported. As for the tornado watch that was issued for most of our area through around 6 o'clock, for the most part, that has begun to die down, being taken off most of our area. Some of our northernmost counties have that tornado watch still in effect through 6 o'clock, but for the most part, that threat is dying down into the night tonight. Estimated rainfall since Monday, just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what we've seen just as a state all across the area. Western North Carolina obviously receiving the brunt of it, but other areas just with that line of strong storms seeing a lot of heavy rain from these outer bands of Helene. And here's an idea of what estimated rainfall looks like right here in western North Carolina, seeing anywhere between 10 to 15, and let me step off so you can get a better view, anywhere between 10 to 15, even up to 20 inches in some spots, causing a lot of flooding issues for folks that live there in the mountains area, especially if you're trying to travel. Just a lot of rainfall that doesn't have anywhere to go. Creates problems for landslides and mudslides as well. 6 inches there heading just to the west of Hickory toward us, anywhere between 3 to 4 inches just in the last couple of days. Still a good amount of rainfall. And in the last 12 hours, we've seen a lot of storm reports, even a funnel cloud here reported in southeastern North Carolina. Let's zoom in to kind of give you a better idea. Lots and lots of trees down here in the city of Gibsonville, right on the edge of Alamance and Guilford. Tree down was reported. Numerous trees down here also reported in Guilford County, right here in Greensboro and in Clemens. Also another tree down. But for western portions of North Carolina, it's more of a flooding concern, even though there were still strong winds, even stronger than what we saw here, up to around 65 miles per hour. The majority of these reports actually ended up being flooding. Houses in low-lying areas are being evacuated. Rivers at the base of some of these bridges are also being evacuated in some of the areas, as well as flooding also causing a concern. And, those winds also pushing down trees as well in portions of the mountains. So we'll continue to get those reports in and let you know how everyone is doing. Wind alerts right now still in effect for us or in our counties until 6 o'clock into tonight. Still could see some breezes anywhere between 20 to 30 miles per hour, but nothing like we saw earlier on today. They are going to continue to die down. This is actually the wind gusts across the area, across all of the Carolinas right now. Along the coastline, you could see between 30 to 40 here in South Carolina, but for us in the Triad, Between 25 to 30 is kind of the rule of thumb. 36 in Charlotte, 31 in Hickory, 30 there in Salisbury. And again, these will continue to die down these next several hours, especially heading into the night tonight and into the weekend. Wind gusts right now in our area, again, 34 right now in Salisbury, 29 in Greensboro. But let's just kind of compare that to what we had earlier on today. Anywhere between 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, even higher than that just to our west in Hickory, just around 52 miles per hour was the highest one recorded, 40 at the RDU airport, 43 here at the Greensboro airport, 47 in Winston-Salem and in Burlington. So that just kind of goes to show you how powerful this system was. I mean, it went for over a lot of land and it was still able to maintain some strength as it made its way across the area. Not only as a tropical storm, but with its motion, able to bring in gusts up to around 50 miles per hour here in the Triad. And this is what the futurecast looks like as that system continues to push toward the northwest. We may see some more clouds from this system as it continues to weaken over Tennessee heading into Saturday and into Sunday. Perhaps an isolated shower or two, but we're back into the middle and upper 70s, and we're back seeing a little bit more sunshine. Here these next couple of hours, that threat of severe weather is going to start to diminish, as well as the threat for some isolated showers into the night tonight. For the most part, we are starting to clear out. We're starting to see the rain go away, and we're starting to see that those winds also that have picked up die down into tonight and especially by tomorrow. A couple of clouds possible into the day on Saturday with an isolated shower or two, but most of us should continue to stay dry into the day on Sunday. Again, isolated shower or two is going to be possible, but for the most part, we are going to stay dry, especially compared to what we've had these last several days. As for tropical impacts, flash flooding, again, not going to be quite as much of a concern here these next couple of hours. High winds, they are going to begin to die down into tonight. Still could be gusty at times between 20 to 30 miles per hour, but by tonight, starting to calm down, especially we're going to be seeing anywhere between 15 to 20, and by tonight, heading into 5 to 10 miles an hour, I would say is the range. Again, isolated tornado threat beginning to die down as well. Just still have that tornado watch in effect for northern counties. Power outages, obviously still a concern across our area and for much of western North Carolina. Rainfall yesterday in western North Carolina, take a look at this, almost at 6 inches, not even half an inch as for us here in the Triad, almost 4 inches in Columbia. A little less, than 4.5 in Macon, Georgia, and a little over 3.5 in Savannah, Georgia. Now let's add that to what we had today here in western portions of North Carolina. Almost 6 inches in Boone, almost 5 inches here in Greenville, South Carolina, and a little under 2.5 in Asheville. That's just a impressive historic amount of rain that has fallen in western portions of North Carolina, causing all sorts of problems. But for us here locally, we really haven't seen that much, especially in comparison to the mountains. Anywhere between half an inch to an inch here in Greensboro, Asheboro, Reedsville, a little under an inch and a half in Burlington due to a stronger storm that kind of went through the area. There in Boone, a little under 7 inches just for the day today. That can kind of show you just how much those amounts can range just from where you're situated when the tropical storm rolls through. If you're in one of those heavier bands, you can get between 6 to 8 inches of rain in such a short amount of time, compared to us in the outer bands that have a little bit more breaks in between those bands, and we were able to see a little bit less rainfall. So some things that you can take away: gusty winds can remain into this afternoon between 20 to 30 miles per hour. Heavy rain is mostly done. A couple of showers are still going to be possible these next few hours, so just make sure you have the raincoat in the back seat and you're also keeping an eye to the sky, and also stay alert for falling trees and also power outages. As for your weekend forecast, we're back deep in the 70s and lower 80s. Isolated shower chances are going to be possible, but we are starting to warm up. Finally, a picture of your 7-day forecast into next week. Middle and upper 70s, isolated shower chances, but feels pretty nice. Heading into Wednesday, though, starting to see clear skies. Middle and upper 70s, overnight lows finally falling back into the cool. Middle and upper 50s, lots of dry weather back in the forecast.